Will having enough money will make us happy?
Will having enough money make us happy? You added an extra will in your sentence. Removing it makes the question clearer and grammatically correct. Keep practicing forming questions with modal verbs like will.
Thank you. So, this has become a question for me for a while because whenever I research about the happiness, one thing that comes to my consideration is money. Because right now, in today's society, money plays a crucial part. So, I have to identify that whether the having enough money lead us to a certain type of happiness, or if we have a lot of money, will we be able to happy forever?
This has been a question on my mind for a while because whenever I research happiness, one thing that stands out is money. In today's society, money plays a crucial role. So I need to figure out whether having enough money leads to a certain type of happiness, or if having a lot of money can make us happy forever. Feedback. Replace has become a question for me with has been a question on my mind for natural phrasing. Use stands out instead of comes to my consideration for clarity. Simplify I have to identify that whether to I need to figure out whether.
If we ask from other people from the society what makes us or what leads us to the happiness, and most of people might say that having enough money is leading us to the happiness that we are looking for, because in most cases our happiness are based on the materialistic things or the things that we can achieve by having enough money. I mean, that is how the current societies work, right? Because if we look at our life, in most of the problem, we can solve them by paying them off. 99% of problems that we are having right now can be removed if we have enough money to solve them.
If we ask others in society what leads to happiness, most people might say that having enough money brings the happiness we're looking for. This is because in many cases, our happiness is tied to materialistic things or things we can achieve with money. That's how our current society works, right? If we look at our lives, most problems can be solved by paying for solutions. I'd say 99% of the problems we face today could be resolved if we had enough money. Feedback. Replace if we ask from other people with if we ask others for smoother phrasing. Use happiness is tied to instead of happiness are based on to correct subject-verb agreement. Simplify most of the problem we can solve them to most problems can be solved.
My question is, by having enough money will lead us to a ultimate happiness in our life.
My question is whether that is actually true. Does having enough money lead us to ultimate happiness in life? Feedback. Replace by having enough money we lead us to with does having enough money lead us to for proper question structure. Avoid repeating in our life when in life works better and sounds more natural.
So, when I researched about it, I found out that is not actually 100% true. Money is a significant part that is lead us to the happiness. That is true because right now we are living in this materialistic society where driven by demand and supply and the influence of money. So, if we have enough money, that is true that we can solve most of our problem in our life. But only by having money does not lead us to the happiness that we are looking for as a person who living in this society. It has some other components as well.
When I researched this, I found that it's not 100% true. Money is a significant factor in leading us to happiness. That's true. We live in a materialistic society driven by demand, supply, and the influence of money. If we have enough money, it's true that we can solve most of our life problems. However, having money alone doesn't bring the happiness we seek as individuals living in this society. There are other components to happiness as well. Feedback. Replace that is not actually with that it's not for conciseness. Use a significant factor instead of a significant part for better phrasing. Avoid redundancy like only by having money does not lead us, by simplifying to having money alone doesn't bring.
As I found, there are basically three components that lead us to the happiness in current life as we're looking for. because in here we are not talking about any spiritual happiness. That means based on some religion and the spiritual practice, people are talking about and defining the happiness in different way. So in here I am talking about is the happiness we are looking as a person who lives in this current society. The main three components of the happiness are: one is money, and the second one is health, and the third one is relationship.
As I found, there are basically three components that lead to happiness in our current lives. Here, I'm not talking about spiritual happiness, which is often defined differently through religion or spiritual practices. Instead, I'm focusing on the happiness we seek as individuals living in today's society. The three main components of happiness are money, health, and relationships. Feedback. Replace lead us to the happiness in current life with lead to happiness in our current lives for smoother phrasing. Simplify. That means based on some religion and the spiritual practice, people are talking about and defining the happiness in different way, to which is often defined differently through religion or spiritual practices. Use the happiness we seek instead of the happiness we are looking for to make it concise.
As I mentioned, the first one is money. I mean, there is no doubt that, like I mentioned earlier, since we are living in a materialistic and money driven economy right now, in order to live and fulfill our desires, money is essential. And the second one is, I mentioned, is health. So health is also a significant factor of people's happiness, because if we are not in a good condition in our life, if we always get dull and always fall in illness and having a lot of troubles while we are living, I mean, there is no happiness in that life at all. So as it mentioned, the health is also one of the significant factor in people's life. What is your opinion regarding this? How does health actually lead us to the happiness? So after giving the corrected version, please give me a brief explanation on that.
As I mentioned, the first component is money. There's no doubt that, as I said earlier, since we live in a materialistic, money-driven economy, money is essential to live and fulfill our desires. The second component is health. Health is also a significant factor in people's happiness, because if we're not in good condition, constantly feeling unwell, or frequently falling ill, life becomes full of troubles. There's no happiness in a life like that. So, as I mentioned, health is one of the most important factors in people's lives. What's your opinion on this? How does health contribute to happiness? Brief explanation. Health plays a crucial role in happiness because it directly affects our ability to enjoy life. When we're healthy, we have the energy to pursue goals, build relationships, and engage in activities that bring joy. Poor health can limit these opportunities and lead to stress or frustration, which diminishes happiness. Taking care of our physical and mental well-being is essential for a fulfilling life. Feedback. Replace since we are living in a materialistic and money-driven economy right now with since we live in a materialistic money-driven economy for conciseness. Use constantly feeling unwell instead of always get dull and always fall in illness for clarity and accuracy. Simplify. The health is also one of the significant factors in people's life. To health is one of the most important factors in people's lives for better flow.
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, the third component is relationship. When it comes to the relationship, I mean, right now people are actually having a lot of troubles on that, because even though we are in a highly technological era where people could be connect easily, in most of the cases it reported that now there are a lot of people suffering from the loneliness and the related illnesses with the loneliness. So as a person, I think it is really important to have a good relationships in order to have a better mental health. I mean, when it comes to relationship, it is not only about love relationship. I mean, relationship means the partnership you are having with your parents, your friends, your partner, and as well as other outer society. So if you are able to have a good relationships with other people or the people who are around you, you might be able to have a better happy life. I mean, right now we have this problem that most of the time we are driven with the social media and as well as the other influencing marketing tools, which may not try to interact with other people's and share our feelings. And that is might ended up feeling us to feel lonely and as well as isolated from the society. So that is actually a huge problem right now. But having a good relationships actually lead you to some happiness in your life because you can interact with those people and enjoy your time.
As I mentioned earlier, the third component is relationships. Right now, many people face challenges in this area. Even though we live in a highly technological era where connecting with others is easier than ever, many people still suffer from loneliness and related mental health issues. I believe it's crucial to have good relationships for better mental health. When I talk about relationships, I don't just mean romantic relationships. Relationships include the bonds you share with your parents, friends, partner, and even the wider community. If you can build and maintain strong relationships with the people around you, you're more likely to lead a happier life. However, today, we often get distracted by social media and other marketing tools, which discourage meaningful interactions and make us feel isolated. This is a significant problem, but having strong relationships allows you to connect with others, share your feelings, and enjoy quality time, which contributes greatly to happiness. Feedback. Replace people could be connect easily with connecting with others is easier than ever for correct grammar. Use many people still suffer from loneliness instead of a lot of people suffering from the loneliness for smoother phrasing. Simplify. That might end up feeling us to feel lonely and as well as isolated too. This can make us feel lonely and isolated.
Great. And some might ask actually, as we discuss about what are the components of the happiness, then how should we achieve the happiness in our life? So when I researched about this, I found something interesting, which is this all these three components are interdependent. That means if you want to achieve a certain type of happiness in our life, we have to have these all three components. And at the same time, if we want to build a one part of this component, we need to get the support of other two components of this happiness formula. That means, let me share you an example. Let's say you want to get into a good shape and in a good health condition. So then you might have to follow a certain type of diet and as well as a eating habit, and or you might have to go to a gym and follow the gym routine. So in order to do that, you need a certain amount of money. And as well as if you have a supportive parents, friends, or a supportive partner, where we define as relationship, it is easy for you to go to the gym and having a good diet and follow the routine and build a better health. So likewise, when it comes to the relationship, if you have a money and you are in a good health condition, you can actually have a meaningful relationships like enjoying time with your friends and going out with your parents and having a good life with your partner. Likewise, at the same time, if you are in a good health condition and you have a supportive relationships, it is easy for you to earn money by doing something that is giving you an income, because since you are in a good health condition and you have a supportive environment, eventually you will be able to do it. So there is an interdependency of the components I mentioned. So if you are looking for happiness, you have to focus on all these three things at the same time. That is my opinion.
Great. Some might ask, as we discuss the components of happiness, how can we actually achieve happiness in life? When I researched this, I found something interesting. All three components are interdependent. This means that to achieve a certain level of happiness, we need all three components. Additionally, to build one component, we often need the support of the other two. Let me give you an example. Suppose you want to improve your health and get into good shape. To do this, you might need to follow a specific diet or eating habits, or perhaps join a gym and stick to a routine. Achieving this requires money to afford the gym and healthy food. At the same time, having supportive parents, friends, or a partner, what we define as relationships, makes it easier to stay committed to your health goals. Similarly, when it comes to relationships, if you have money and good health, you can build meaningful connections by spending quality time with friends, going out with your parents, or enjoying life with your partner. Finally, if you're in good health and have a supportive environment, it becomes easier to earn money through work or other income generating activities. Good health gives you the energy to work, and a strong support system motivates you to succeed. So these components, money, health, and relationships, are deeply interconnected. If you're looking for happiness, you need to focus on all three at the same time. That's my opinion. Feedback, replace, as we discuss about what are the components of the happiness, with as we discuss the components of happiness, for smoother phrasing. Use let me give you an example instead of let me share you example for correct grammar. Simplify having a good diet and follow the routine and build a better health. To maintain a good diet, follow the routine and improve your health. Avoid repeating ideas like at the same time too often for better flow.
So, as a final thought, what is your opinion regarding as I explained, the way of achieving happiness?
So, as a final thought, what's your opinion on the way of achieving happiness that I explained? Feedback. What is your opinion regarding as I explained, the way of achieving happiness? Is a bit wordy. Simplifying it to, what's your opinion on the way of achieving happiness that I explained? Makes it more natural. As I explained is enough to clarify what you mean, so you don't need to repeat the before it.
So, what will be your answer? Can you elaborate your answer?
I believe your view on achieving happiness is quite insightful. The idea that money, health, and relationships are interdependent components of happiness makes a lot of sense. In today's world, these factors often work together to create a fulfilling life. Money, as you mentioned, provides the means to meet basic needs and pursue desires, while health ensures we have the energy and ability to enjoy life. Relationships, on the other hand, provide emotional support and a sense of connection, which are essential for mental well-being. I agree that focusing on all three areas is crucial. If one of these components is neglected, it can affect the others. For example, poor health can limit your ability to enjoy time with loved ones or pursue your goals. Similarly, financial stress can harm your relationships and health. Overall, I think your approach is balanced and realistic. Happiness is not just about achieving one thing, but about creating harmony between these different aspects of life.